Hello, everyone. Welcome to the chat show where we talk about employment, empathy, and innovation every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Uh, in this show, we always talk about how do we promote and how do we create the right environment and create more jobs and promote more jobs for people with disability. So, employment is the core focus area, and there are two forces, empathy and innovation. How empathy and innovation is driving employment for people with disability and and employment for everyone. Today's guest is a very special guest, and it came from this statement which I found from his profile. The human spirit is one of ability, perseverance, and courage, and no disability can steal that away. Um, Today's guest is Sumit Agrawal. He's disability and inclusion right activist and a storyteller. I have personally experience with him. He's amazing speaker. He's featured on Forbes India and multiple publications. But most importantly, he has been an entrepreneur and running a public and media relationship company. With that, Sumit, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So, Sumit, tell us a little bit about you. We interacted several times in past and in person as well as over the phone and over the video conference calls. And I have been amazed with your journey and your passion to change the world of disability based on your own experience and some of the challenges you have. Tell us a little bit about you. Would love to
So
learn.
life is full of uh,
Yeah, please go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, life is full of accidents, and not all accidents are bad. Some accidents can change you for life. For example, I am not supposed to be alive today, and when I was young, I underwent four major surgeries with a disability percentage of 70%, and that gave me a close call with death many times, and this taught me the concept of mortality from a very young age, that all things which are alive have to die at some point. And I believe that since you have a finite amount of time in your life, you must always try to put an impact around you so that whoever you come across, they remember you in a positive and enlightening manner with a sense of empathy, right? So
Hmm.
that is how I realized that all people are here to create some amount of impact so that they are remembered with a positive vibe when they are not alive anymore. So whenever people think about you when you are not there, it must always bring a smile to their faces, because a smile is the greatest jewelry a person can wear. you know and a smile costs nothing, but it is very infectious. As if you see someone smile, a smile automatically comes to your face as well. So so that is one of the things. And during my childhood I was isolated, but as I grew up, I realized that isolation can make you desperate to form relations with other people, and that's how my fascination with public relations and talking to people began. So this is
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, please.
yeah. So this is some something about my childhood and my journey.
Yeah. So Excellent. So thank you for sharing your personal story and some of the challenges. So from childhood to the career, right? And I'm pretty sure, and you have experienced that, like any other individuals, either people with disability or without, but people with disability, we all know, has more
Have it further.
challenges or more,
Yeah.
little bit harder. So tell us a little bit about that, your journey from your childhood to adulthood, and then and education also, because I know you did your MBA and some of those challenges you during your journey of education.
So, what happened during my college life was people used to go out for, picnic or college outings or college excursions, and I used to be left alone because lot of people used to think that Sumit cannot go with us. Sumit cannot, like he cannot enjoy with me, and so I used to be that little sad little kid on the block who used to be always left alone. And for the facts, the ironical facts lies in the fact that I always used to love mixing with people, and I was the one who used to be isolated. So there lies the irony. So that is one. When I sat down for interviews, when I sat down for job interviews after completing my MBA, most of the employers and recruiters told me that you have a disability. You think we are gonna hire you, especially for marketing. Since my honors is marketing, for marketing you always need to travel. Marketing cannot be done sitting in front of a PC. And I am technologically very savvy, and I was trying to convince them that everything can be done using a PC, but unfortunately, it took a global pandemic to make us realize that everything can really be done using a PC, even marketing. So
You are absolutely right.
it took a entire global lockdown to make people realize that I was actually right, and everything could be done behind a PC. So that time I thought that recruiters are telling me that Sumit, you cannot do a job. So I thought, why always be takers from the society? Why not givers? Why not give employment? Why not generate employment? All of my team members are freelance members, but people are talking about virtual teams and virtual work. I have been doing virtual work for the past 4 years. All of my teammates are virtual. Then I don't have a physical office. I don't have a set place to meet. I just discuss everything with people on Skype, and now it's Zoom. So so yeah, that's what it is. That's how it is. That's how I started my own PR company, and I never looked back. Since I was very unsure of my decision when I started, but 2 days back I got declared the best PR company in Calcutta by Economic Times and HRD India. So
Congratulations, congratulations. That's amazing, amazing, and that's a great success. You deserve it, and you really made it happen. So I really admire your willpower and your spirit of fighting back and not giving up. So we appreciate and admire your spirit. Tell us a little bit about employment related other challenges before you got into because as you know our theme of this show is talk about employment. Of course, in your case you are creating employment that has a different impact, but during your employment search, if you have any suggestions or guidance based on your own experience for others who is really struggling to find a meaningful job, any
so
thoughts?
So I'll tell you something. If you look at the stats, right? By the way, to all the viewers, I don't want to bore you with stats, so I won't go too much into details. But I'll just tell you what is relevant. Uh, The Indian census states that there is 2.1% of the entire population who has disability, some form of disability. But I think it is much more than that, because according to the RPD Act 2016, there are 21 types of disabilities now, and it is highly unlikely that such a large population in India has only 2.1% of population with disabilities. So when we look at employment, we have to consider all 21 types of disabilities which are mentioned in the RPWD Act. Now, when we are talking about employment, we have to see what kind of support is required by the person, and do we actually have job roles for that person available in the company. So that's one. And second is, when it comes to employment, I have never seen persons with disabilities in higher management roles. They have always been the receptionist, or the person making the candles, or the person who's taking the orders at the table, or working at a cake shop, or working as a person who was doing the deliveries. But I've never seen persons with disabilities in India with managerial roles, barring a few exceptions who I know. I've never seen persons with disabilities on higher management roles. When we talk about inclusion, it's not only about numbers, that we have 1,500 people with disabilities working in our company, but it's about how many persons work on higher roles of management, what are the different departments they work in, what are the different skill programs that we have for them, what is the promotion criteria which we have for them. So these are few aspects which lie unaddressed as far as India is concerned.
No, I 100% agree with you, Sumit. It's one of the things which you mentioned, the rate, 2% population. In United States, it's 1 out of 5 individuals has some kind of visible or invisible disabilities, right? So that's almost 20%. That is 20% of the population. So I have absolutely agree with you on that stats, that there is something which we should all look into it and make sure that that awareness is there in the society. And as you rightly said, the roles, right? The way we have experience is matter of awareness, and that mindset. Organizations, we have seen where there are parents who has someone with disability, they have this concept of certain rules, and that's what we all have to change that mindset and say person with disability can do any job, right? And this is a very common question we've been asked by employers globally, and our answer is it's just our job how we match their abilities and their strength with that role. So I 100% agree with you that it's not about the numbers, it's about how that inclusive environment is created, and how the opportunities are given to these individuals to grow and have a career path. um, so with that, where do you see the and you have already mentioned briefly, but some thoughts that what corporations should do to change this, and in India or in globally. Please share your thoughts for employers' point of view. What are the actual actions they can take so that there is a measurable success?
So few days back, I was speaking to a MNC, which is one of the largest companies in India, and they have a strength of 1,600 persons with disabilities working in their payroll across India. But when I ask them, what do these people do, they're like, most of them work in the retail sector, in shops, and in hotels, restaurants, and these kind of sectors where they serve as waiters or frontline executives. When I asked people like how many of them are managers, there was a complete silence. So there are some questions which entrepreneurs or bigger corporations even need to ask themselves, that when I'm working with persons with disabilities, is it just a numbers game, or can I put them in higher positions of management, not just to simplify diversity and inclusion. By the way, diversity and inclusion became a trending topic in 2019 and 20, but we have been working with diversity and inclusion much before it became a trend and a fancy thing to do. You know,
Yeah.
if I look at diversity and inclusion right now, it has just become a trend more than actual groundwork. So
Yeah,
now,
so Sumit, one of the thing which I would like to ask you, because this is a challenge which we have been facing also when we are serving these organizations in US as well as in India,
yeah,
finding the talent, right? And when we go out and present disability inclusion solutions and programs and strategy, we always say it's not about charity. It's not that, it's about finding the real untapped talent. But that's where we face challenges. Your thoughts for employers, how do they find this talent? Because we, as you know, and we know, that every one of us is connected to someone with disability, some visible, invisible disabilities, and a lot of people. I would not say everyone, but a lot of people, they have all good intentions to help people with disability, to bring them to work and have them a meaningful job. how, how do we solve that
so,
challenge?
so So one of the ways monster.com or some other job portals are doing it is they have a separate subdomain for persons with disabilities where they can search jobs which are only available to persons with disabilities. Number one. Second is again the awareness issues. If even if such portals exist, there is a lot of uh, accessibility gap as far as India is concerned. I'm not talking of the US, but from the Indian perspective, there's a digital divide. Like if you look at device access of internet and mobile to between persons of disabilities and persons of non-disabilities. So persons with disabilities don't have access to the internet, or they cannot access internet because of lack of software to help them in their cell phone, or they don't have cheaper options. Again, affordability becomes an issue. So unless these underlying issues are solved, and again, the census has to have a proper count of of the number of persons with disability. It's like if you are telling that there is only a very small percentage of the population who are persons with disabilities, then you are taking other people who actually have disabilities off the record, and that is very very dangerous because those people don't exist on the record that they have disabilities. You know, so So that is what happens if you don't maintain proper records of people, and if you have a record, then you can make a website out of it, and where people can apply for jobs. The government has a portal. It really works. It's a miracle if it works at all. So things exist, but the infrastructure has to be better. If it's like a Trojan horse, it's there. It's a wooden horse, but it cannot run. It cannot
Yes,
run.
yes. And that's where, so where do you see, and as an entrepreneur, we as an entrepreneur can play a role. I understand that there are challenges and a lot of challenges, and it is not just India, not just US, it is globally. Uh, Challenges might just differ a little bit here and there, but challenges are there. So, as an entrepreneur, what do you think? What can you do,
So
and
first,
how are you contributing, and we can
see,
do?
what I am doing is first is I am hitting the mindset of the organizations that persons with disabilities can be a part of different roles. It's not just you become a ward boy, or you become a person in the lower paying jobs, or something which is repetitive in nature and which doesn't require too much thinking. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that if you have a disability that you lose your capacity to think. Unfortunately, most people tend to stereotype ki, if he has a disability, you won't be able to do higher performance jobs or jobs that require critical thinking. So
Yeah,
that is where we need to address as an entrepreneur or as a corporation that persons with disabilities can do different roles. It's not only candle making. It's not only you know doing masala making, and it's not only in doing other things like so
yeah,
this is where I want to address. I have been to several NGOs and several institutions, first to say, and most of them are teaching children candle making, masala making, dance, art, and I'm like, okay, what if this person wants to do something different? What if the person doesn't want to do art, or something like dance, or some other creative forms, or do repetitive work like masala making? What if the person wants to become a chef? What if the person wants to become a coder? Those things don't exist.
yes, yes. So, in that area, one of the challenge we have seen is that identifying their interest, their strength, and then connecting that to the right job, right role, right? Any thoughts on that? How that can be done differently in a better way?
So one of the key things is, if the person has a passion for doing anything, it shows through the actions of that person. For example, I love speaking, and when I travel, if I'm in flight, or if I'm in a train, or if I'm sitting somewhere with a co-passenger, by the end of the trip, I make sure that the person sitting beside me becomes my friend. So if a person has a passion, it actually displays through the actions of the person. I think it is something which cannot be mentioned on the CV. You
Yeah,
cannot you cannot see interests and passions in a CV. It comes through the actions of the person.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's a great conversation, Sumit. I want to change gears and talk about empathy real little bit. And I know you are a very kind person. So how the empathy has impacted your world and your life?
So I believe that if you surround yourself with nice people, you tend to become nice, right?
Yeah.
I have met several people who are very empathetic and kind towards whatever I do and my initiatives, and they have always genuinely tried to come forward and help me. And that makes a huge difference because mostly for persons with disabilities, until you get support from your family or your immediate friends and neighbors, very impossible to come out of whatever you are going through and establish yourself as an individual, because
Beautiful.
depression is one of the most common factors in persons with disabilities which we don't talk about, and we need to talk about more, because it's not about what job you are going to do and how you are going to do it, but it's about you are fighting harder than the rest of your fellow mates, right?
Yeah.
So that's a battle where people need extra care, extra emotional support, and empathy.
Beautiful. And talking about empathy in your work, the work which you do as a PR firm and public relation uh, uh, consulting, how is empathy playing a role?
See, as a PR firm, and as a personally as a PR consultant, and what I would like to say is, most of your messages which you give out to the audience, being a media consultant, has to be empathetic and has to understand the emotions of your audience or the audience of your clients. Otherwise, your entire messaging or your media campaign goes haywire. Most of the times I've seen that the brand wanted to portray something, but the audience understood something else. So if you have a deep connection and a deep empathy with your audience, I think the brand gets the messaging right most of the time.
Excellent, excellent. I love it, love it. Yes. So I don't know if you know Rangam's tagline is empathy drives innovation, right? Through empathetic approach, we are constantly building innovative solutions.
So
So it's all
my company has something similar, has which does not include the word empathy in it, but portrays the soul of empathy, which is bridging relationships.
bridging relationships. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, what do you enjoy most about public relation, and what advice would you give to someone who admire your work and they want to make their career out of their passion for PR? So tell us a little bit, you know.
So I'll tell you something. If you are in PR, you get to live multiple lives. Now, why I'm saying this is, uh, you you get to hear multiple stories of your multiple clients or different people who you come across, right? And when you are hearing their story, if you are deeply connecting yourself with their story, you are actually living their life and seeing that, okay, this is what happened with that guy during that time, and I can actually relate to it. So it is a wonderful career because every day you get to meet a new person, live their story, and get to know how they have experienced life. So I have not lived one life. I have lived multiple lives. You know, for example, when I met you few years back, I got to know your story, and that was very inspiring about how you started with Rangam and how you who have achieved what you have achieved today, and how you are impacting people. So that is one story which I can relate to. So like this, there are many people I keep on meeting, and I keep on hearing their stories, and that is how I also consider myself a story listener rather than a storyteller, because I
Yeah.
love listening to stories, and then I tell these stories to relevant people at relevant time.
Sumit, let me tell you, you are built for PR profession, and it is just amazing to hear some of your thoughts on how you see your profession, your business, your services, and how you work with your customers to be successful. It's just amazing. Before we conclude, is there a story that you would like to share with us? A story that has touched you in last few months of a challenging period or before.
So I'll tell you something. I I met a person few years back. He had he had blood cancer. Doctors gave him 2 years to survive, right? And what he did was he quit his job then and there, and he went on traveling. Right? He
Mhm.
vis- he visited around 50 countries, learned a lot, met different people, and now he is writing a book about it. And he has overcome the deadline which he was given by doctors, and doctors are not able to figure out how he is still alive, and he is miraculously healthy. So my message is, if you love what you do, and if you are able to achieve your dreams, your body and your mind heals itself from whatever disease you have, right? And you are able to overcome anything in the world. So maybe today, any of the viewers or any of the person watching this is going through a tough time. But what I would like to say is the best is always yet to come, and the tomorrow always shines brighter than today.
So beautiful, Sumit. Really nice talking to you. Thank you for sharing your story, your wisdom, your experience, and just amazing a story, very touching story with our audience. I really admire all your great work and your thinking and how you are really impacting hundreds and thousands in your life, including me. When I remember when I met you and how that's how we got connected. So very inspiring. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you everyone for joining today. We will continue the similar conversation on empathy, employment, and innovation next week, same time, same place. And again, Sumit, thank you so much, and all the
Thank you.
best for your future ventures and career and business growth in the world of PR.
Thank you so much. It's
Thank you.
it's wonderful, and it's a pleasure being here.
Thank you. Same here. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye bye.